in America, good afternoon in Europe and in Africa, and good evening in Asia and in Oceania. Welcome to the EcoLivre International Meeting. We are delighted to have you here for this meeting focused on heritage and empowerment in times of climate crisis. Before we dive into today's program, let's take a moment to greet each other. Feel free to use the chat to share your thoughts, question, or link during the sessions. The chat is your space to connect and interact with other participants. If you have questions to the speakers, type it in the chat. We'll collect them and address as many as possible during the Q&A sessions. We also post useful links and documents in the chat, so keep an eye on it through the meeting. If you experience technical issues, please let us know. Please let off your microphone if you don't have to talk. And we can start with the opening session. We have Giulia Mura from Milan University Bicocca. She's a researcher and also an assistant professor in the Milan University. Giulia, I give you the floor just to share your screen and start this meeting. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. I bring also the, sorry, let me just share the screen. Can you tell me if you can see my screen?
Yes, very well, thank you.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm here representing also Professor Nunzia Borrelli, who unfortunately was sick today, so she couldn't make it. I will try to be as good a substitute as I can be. So I am here to introduce you to the first day, to the second day of this event. We welcome everybody to our cultural dialogue that we have promoted within the Weather of the Future initiative, and that is linked to the COP30 that will be held in Belen and will start so soon. So over these 3 days, this initiative brings together a number of cultural institutions, such as practitioner, researcher networks, and communities to basically share good practices, to address the systemic barriers, and to, if I move the arrow, do you see that or not? On the
yes.
Okay, so we take it away. And to co-create a shared vision with the idea of a 3 years commitment for cultural action. So this is the framework. Our guiding theme is heritage and empowerment of local development actors in time of climate crisis. And it picks up from a conversation that started in 2012, exactly in Belém, but which has been recentered to be more fitting to the urgencies of today. In this case, to strengthen community capacities and to integrate culture into climate strategies. So, as you know, this is the gateway also for a digital exhibition, which you can see here, the Weather of the Future. We have opened a call that I guess will remain open, and we already gathered quite a number of very interesting experiences that are resumed on this online page, and which create the base for an open access publication that will be published by the end of the year. So culture, of course, is always important, but what represents culture right here and right now? Why is it so important for us? So the EcoLivre initiative rests on quite a radical premise, which is that the climate crisis is also a crisis of culture and of meaning. That if we want to make a significant change and have a noticeable impact on mitigation, adaptation, and climate justice, we must also push on the cultural condition that includes the values, the narratives, the habits, the relationships that shape how people act in place. As the University of Milano Bicocca, I have been working on a project that lasted 3 years that was focusing exactly on this. So how can we create a bridge between what is being done and discovered on an academic level and in the hard science field, and translate this into a change of daily practices. So this group can count on a pool of shared knowledge and of tools, such as the inside-outside model or the critical assessment framework, CAF, which have been created to help cultural organizations plan, track, and learn from cultural impacts across various levels, from individual to community, organizational, and systemic. So this is the spirit of the Weather of the Future initiative. Not to be a unique moment that will dazzle us like a shooting star, but to have a more long-term kind of feel, a brief. So a program which is composed from the exhibition, the forum, the agreement, and is designed to build capacity, policy coherence, and share monitoring tools for cultural-based climate action before, during, and after the COP30. So if we want to have a look at a short resume of what happened yesterday, one of the main points that emerged is the need for, well, not just the need, but it's already happening, a change of vision, which is shifting the focus from sustainability toward regeneration that should be rooted in bioregional scales, and where the environment and the living communities become the operative framework for action. Another point that is clearly very relevant for us and was highlighted is the belief that the small community-led cultural institution can have that kind of agility that sometimes is missing in bigger institutions to catalyze this shift. Other outcome regards practices, barriers, methods, and the commitment that we have. So for what concerned the practice, the day one presentation underline a shift on how we measure, on the indicators that are choose to assess the success of initiatives, and which are focusing more and more on cultural change pathways such as ecological literacy gains, social cohesion, practices of governance. Moreover, the curators have emphasized the relevance of co-creation and artistic practices and the integration of traditional indigenous knowledge and science in the work that is developed. For what concerns barriers, there is a need to name and to navigate systemic barriers. Participants named a few of those, like extractive economic logics, policy silos, short funding cycles, tokenistic participation, which have to be addressed at a collective level and should not be considered a reason for paralysis, something that block the action, but a precondition to building regenerative future. That is, recognizing them, naming them is the precondition that we need. For what concerns the methods, a pragmatic triad can be drawn. The using of visioning to imagine scientifically viable and ethically desirable future. The use of design and evaluation tools to plan and assess cultural impacts over time. And the idea of treating arts, education, and storytelling as cultural feedback loops. So mechanisms that can amplify regenerative practices and help the communities to course correct their action. We arrived to the commitment toward the action that are included in the Agreement of Belen. Recognize culture as an infrastructure for climate action, promoting inclusive participatory practices, and establish shared indicators, both qualitative and quantitative, to document cultural and social transformation. These are all parts that are included in what we want to achieve today, so that the action we are developing, the practice exhibition, the publication of the open access book are something that can go on behind COP30. So building on this foundation, this day too, we'll do three things. We will start with the digital exhibition launch, presenting all the practices submitted through the international call. This is a moment to acknowledge the diversity and creativity of initiatives from across the world, each weaving together culture, heritage, and climate action. Second, we will move into a deep dive on some of these practices, exploring their transformative potential, methods, and lessons learned. These sessions will highlight what works, why it works, and how it can inspire adaptation in other contexts. And finally, we will share the Agreement of Belen in its definitive version. So you will have the opportunity to endorse and sign the agreement, which will be then transmitted to representatives of governments meeting at the COP30. This is our collective call to strengthen the role of culture in climate policy and action, because the Belen Agreement is also planned for a 3-year program, as we said, of exhibition, exchange, training, and annual reporting. So that what we discussed today is sort of an infrastructure of the action we want developed. Now, a note that we feel important to specify. So this meeting is deliberately horizontal. Cultural organizations are not here to fix the communities. They are here as a part of the community to work with it, to empower, to analyze, and to monitor feedback. So this is important because it shapes how we work, what knowledge we consider, and what we call impact. We ask the participants to try and keep in mind 3 questions. If we get answer to these questions, which regards the alignment of their institution, of the inside of their institution with the community in which they are involved, what are the cultural feedback mechanisms that they want to use to amplify regenerative norms and discourage extractive ones, and what indicators they are planning to report in 2026. Well, if they try to answer to this answer and share the answer with us, then what we are doing today becomes a starting point for a conversation that will last. So thank you very much, and let's start with the work.
Thank you, Giulia, for these opening remarks and the summary of day 2. We now move to the next session, the digital exhibition launch, Waivers of the Future, presented by Marisol González Reforma from Spain, an expert in cultural innovation and digital and art platform.
Well, hello everyone. It's great to be here with you today. Some of you may already know me, as we have been exchanging email over the past few months. And I should say that I was truly inspired by your proposals, because they made me feel hopeful and excited about the amazing work you have doing. For those who don't know me, as Raul have said, my name is Marisol González Reforma. I'm an artist and a researcher at the University of Murcia in Spain. And my work is at the intersection of art, ecology, community engagement. And for that reason, I often collaborate with institutions and local communities to create projects that connect community, memory, territory, and environmental awareness. In fact, we are here today because we believe that culture, art, and creativity can help us to reconnect with our environment and work together for regeneration. As Donna Haraway reminds us, in times of ecological crisis, it's necessary to stay in with the trouble. That is, to embrace its complexity and to explore forms of cohabitation and share this responsibility. When everything seems to be falling apart, it's often the symbolic, the poetic, the sensitive things that sometimes seem useless, but that give us strength and inspiration. Even though it's often seen that something improductive, situated actions with creativity give us a radical power. It can break through what is established and create new ways of relating and support, shared and situated ways of thinking, as we can see in all of these projects that we have in this picture. It offers us ways of being in the world, not through the immediately utility or measurable benefits, but through its power to rebuild bonds and question about the way we live. For it can create, excuse me, it can create space at the end of listening, care, and community. And it can preserve memory, tell story, and create a space to make the people feel supported. And that's why the work you do with your community is so important. You remind us that caring, feeling, and creating are powerful forms of resistance. And these reflections, like Julia have said, help us to explain the thing behind the call for proposal that you have already enjoyed. Because when we started to design the call, we wanted it to be more than just a selection process. Even though the structure was simple, our goal is to encourage everyone to reflect on their own practices, on their meaning, purpose, and the future they imagine, to help us to think the role of museums in the face of the ecosocial crisis, understanding that they are not isolated entities, but independent, interdependent cultural nodes of in a complex ecological, social, and economic system. The goal was meant to be a shared space, a starting point to active dialogue and bring together different ways of imagining and building possible future from different parts of the world. And that's why we ask some specific questions to understand your proposals better. We ask about vision of change. What kind of change you imagine or want to create through your project to understand the interest, needs, and aspiration in your territories. We also ask about expected impacts to think together about what effects this action could have on community, territory, and collective imaginary. And these are the hypotheses you make about what you hope to achieve and what is what is possible to do. And that's why we also look at systemic barriers and strategy, because every transformative process faces cultural changes. And we want to know how you are approaching them and what strategy you are building collectively. One of the main goals of Weaver is to learn from one another at the end. And finally, we ask to reflect about community knowledge and territory connection, which is a key focus for us. I believe it's essential to keep building a cultural space in museum, and that are not, and for that we need to think that are not isolated and deeply connected with their community. And what better way to do this than by working with the people who live and shape these places? And for that reason, we decided to bring together the 36 practices submitted to the goal into our digital exhibition. Each one, in different ways, offer us a map of effort to adapt and to contribute the needs and aspiration of their environment. So far, we have practices from Brazil, Italy, United Kingdom, Spain, Greece, Colombia, Australia, Argentina, Benin, Egypt, Canada, Indonesia, South Korea, Portugal, France, Barbados, Ireland, and we hope to continue expanding this framework and keep receiving new proposals in the future. Well, the website. To access the online platform where the practices can be explored, we need to go to the Ecomuseum's Drop platform. Okay, you can see that. And after that, we need to click in more and scroll down to find the link for the group practices here. Go to the practices exhibition. Well, our idea is to create a living and accessible space or open online platform where all the participant projects can be explored. We don't want this to be just a catalog with all of the practices. We imagine it as a map of initiative and above all, a place, like Julia have said, with real connection and collaboration can grow between institutions, collectives, people from different territories who share similar concerns or ideas. And the version we are showing today is very, very, very simple. Is even a little bit basic because it's a provisional version. For now, it helps us to organize all of the content collected in the call and in an easy way. But our goal is clear. We want to keep improving it, launch a more completely version by the end of January when we finish the book. Well, to use it is really simple because we have here this space and we can write the name of the country where we want to see what is happening there. For instance, we can write Colombia and the practices from this country are here. Or maybe you can write the name of a project that you are looking for, like this. Every project have the map where the practice have made, the links of the institution, the photos, and the full description you send us during the call. The goal, as I have said, is to connect and to build bridges and create new opportunities of collaboration. It's important to say that for the next version that we want to do, we will maybe include a short video that could be like a guide with a 3D recreation to show all of the project in an exhibition space, a digital exhibition space. And I think that it could work like an overview of all of the platform and use it as a starting point to explore the projects in more detail. I don't know, thank you so much for listening, and I hope that the final proposal in January leaves us to your expectations.
Thank you, Marisol, for your showing us the digital exhibition and selected practice. Next, we have the next session chaired by Isabel Hernandez from Mexico and Catalina Gonzalez from Colombia. Voices from the field. They will guide us through inspiring short presentation from practitioners worldwide. And the timeline is good. I think we can give 7 minutes each one. It's for each practice.
Thank you, Raul. Do you hear me, everyone?
Yes, yes.
Yes. I don't know if Isabel is there somewhere.
I'm here.
Okay. I can see you. But so, do you want to present yourself before we start with the practice?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Isabel Hernandez. I'm currently in Mexico. I joined the program because I had contact with Professor Karen Brown, who is also part of this project, and I'm really excited to be here today.
From my side, I am Catalina González Tejada. I am a doctor in museology, inspired by eco-museums, practices, and experiences. Those learnings that emphasizing the role of communities in the co-production of knowledge about their territories, and it has inspired all my work since then. I strongly believe in the power of networking and science diplomacy, amplifying territorial actions to contribute to grow and change, and that's what we are doing right now. So we will share the presentation, and we will start with the first group. Let me see here. Oh, wait, sorry, then we have it. Do you see it?
No?
So we can welcome,
Yes. Yes.
there Carolina and Camilo. Are they here? From Caminos del Agua?
Yes. We're here.
Yes. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, we can see it.
Caro,
Okay.
Carolina. We're here.
Yes. Yeah, I cannot see anyone. I have the presentation, so I cannot see anyone, but you can go ahead. The floor is yours, and you let me know when you're ready.
Okay. So we are Carolina and Camilo Murcia. We are part of the National Museum of Colombia. I'm part of one of this project that's called Caminos de Agua. That is a long time ago a work that we are creating with the communities in the Darien zone, that is the north part of Colombia. So we are Camilo, and with me is Carolina.
Hi. Good morning. My name is Carolina Quintero from the National Museum of Colombia, and I'm going to present the exhibition Caminos de Agua, Water Paths. This project brings us closer to the communities of Darien and their vital relationship with water, an element that underpins their identities, ways of lives, and dynamics of resistance, while also being a contested resource. Caminos de Agua is developed in collaboration with the Colombian Institute of Anthropology and History, ICANN.
Ela falou, como assim, São Paulo? Eu falei, amanhã ontem ele dormiu na casa dos pais dele, então o pai dele tá de folga. Nossa, vai entender esse menino. Falou pra nós que tinha vindo pra cá. E mãe, calma.
Microphone is
Não é
open.
que ele voltou de Marifuia pra casa dele.
Can you
Eu falei, ó, a gente
turn
conversa
off
pessoalmente com ele, tudo é melhor.
please, please, can you turn off the microphone? I don't know who. Okay. Please go
The
on.
Archaeological Park of Santa María de la Antigua del Darién, the Afro Museum of Colombia project, and the Darien Cultural Committee, which include representatives for region diverse communities, the Embera Yávida, Embera Dovida, and Gunadule peoples, the Greater Council of Lower Atrato, and the several communities of the area. Its presentation at the temporary exhibition hall of the National Museum is scheduled between May and July 2026, featuring an agenda that highlights the activity participation of the co-authoring communities. Next, please. This exhibition invites reflection on bodies of water as sources of life, memory, and resistance. It fosters dialogue on collective action on the connection among diverse community-based and territorial forms of organization. The exhibition is structured on three narrative threads: lives in the water, focuses on the ways of inhabiting the rivers, fishing, navigation, and the trails that accompany the flow. Objects, boats, and every gesture reveal a body of knowledge that remains in motion. Forms of Water brings together the many ways in which the territory is represented and imagined. Maps, symbols, and the testimonies compose a collective portrait of the Darien, where geography and memory intertwine. Water Justice turns to the transformation of the present, the impacts, the resistance, and the local pedagogies that defend the life of ecosystems. Thank you. Camilo?
So Caminos de Agua is a dialogue of between times and voices that brings together archaeological and historical studies, but also ancestral technologies, local knowledge, and community leaderships that seek not a simple or a single perspective, but also a dialogue about the past, the present, and the future of the water and the Darien Zone. So the voice of water in Darien is also being affected by multiple factors. One of them is the transformation of the landscape, like the change of an ecosystems, the loss of biodiversity, and the the exploitation of the natural resources, the infrastructure projects like ports and other type of this long and big infrastructures, and the expansion of the agro-industrial frontier that go out of the from the rivers and all the zone of this part. So for this situation or this issue, the Caminos de Agua exhibition is so important for recognition of the rights of the nation, uh, for the recognition of the rights of the local communities and their own ways to life, and for make part of the collective action, like a key to counteracting the damage and the transformation of the relationship with the water and the communities in this zone. Next, please. In this way, the project is the way of the project is make several local actions to contribute the protection of the territory and and the ecosystems, and this is part of another initiatives that are recognized, have been recognized for the state and for the communities. One of them, for example, is Guardianes del Planeta, Guardians of Planet. That is a group of volunteers that collect the waste in the Lower Atrato, this part of the river that is near to Golfo del Darién, and make then the observes that the fish and the other fauna is okay and is in protection with the different behaviors of the people in this part of the river. So the project contributes to a process of governance and peace building in the territory. It's also a territory that the armed conflict is so present and is part of the quotidianity. But the project look for this governance and the peace building in the territory with the dialogue of knowledge and the communities, and helps that the Darien is visible for others, not also by the conflict, but also by the initiative to protect the nature and protect the water, the territory and the communities. Next, please. So, Caminos de Agua is supported by in this occasion by the National Museum of Colombia, in collaboration with the communities, the communities of the Darien Committee, and the institutional partners like ICANN and other institutions that was called by Caro. To ensuring its implementation and territorial projection. The dialogue with the community's flexibility management and capacity to adapt is part of the key of the mitigation risk that is necessary in this context. And the project is centered in guarantee the project community of the other ownership community of the institutional place that is the park, archaeological park of the Darien, that is part of the infrastructure of this project in Darien. And we are looking for in the future actions to make more cooperative networks in the territory, develop a traveling or virtual version of this exhibition to continue make this message and this dialogue in other part of the country and in other regions necessary for this discussion and this protect of water like a public discussion.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So for all those that have questions, please write them down on the chat. At the end of this first part of the group, we will have the questions, the questions time. So we will go to the next presentation, People's Plan. I will ask Samuele, Marco, and Yusi. I give them the floor.
Hi, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
To keep the 7 minutes, please,
Hi.
so we will have the time for questions.
Okay. So can you go to this? I'm Samuele, by the way, and I will be presenting today with Giusy. Marco will not be here, but is a part of our team. So as you can see, we are part of the branch project, that is Whispers of Times, Heritage's Narrative of Climate Change. And we would like to present today the People's Plan, an instrument that we are trying to develop in order to find a way to preserve our living heritage in the face of climate change. Here you can see in this slide the visual identity of our project, the branch logo, that is the stamp on the right part of the slide, and the postcard that you can see here. It's the logo and the identity elements that we are trying to use in our project. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, here you can see some photos of some of the meetings that we have been doing during this the last year. So our vision of desired change is focusing in identifying and enacting change that means understanding who drives the transformation that we are looking for. So we are adopting community planning and mapping approach in which grassroots voices can participate, not just us as scholars, but also people from the communities that can help us in understanding what we have to do. Through ongoing initiatives, we aim to engage schools, university students, museums, and local organizations. Our work lies in this community workshop, and we are trying to have to develop narratives that can advocate people for their right to the city and to their socio-ecological spaces. This incorporates heritage for us as an essential element and highlights climate justice as a foundation for urban transformation. In our cases, in our pilot sites, we have some partners, as Giusy will maybe say something later about the river contamination at the Rio Matanza Riachuelo in Buenos Aires, some wildfires on common lands in Galicia, Spain, and material degradation in Durham, Naples, and Ragusa. We try to say that if heritage for us is indeed a collective memory of a community, it is crucial for communities to have a say in mobilizing these memories in response to climate change. How we do this? So let's come, next slide, please. So let's try to focus a bit on this, on our proposal, the People's Plan. The idea is to engage individuals directly in planning processes from the grassroots level. We use insurgent creative processes, such as collective maps and artistic intervention, to ensure that each case receives a tailored approach, because we really believe that there's no one-fits-for-all solution for every case. Every plan must have its own proposal, its own understanding of the problem. So we start by the individuation, by the creation of a community, of a starting group that is connected to a specific space and want to invest some this time in its future. And it's essential for us, for participants, to agree on an engagement process where the outcome transcends mere documentation. We really want to cultivate the group itself and foster collaborative planning processes that will go farther than our project, but will be able to disseminate, let's say, ideas that this group can create to other places and people. Finally, before leaving the floor to Giusy, we want to say that we really think that we strive to rethink heritage through a more than human lens. This approach invites us to consider not only human perspectives, but also the ecological and cultural connection that define our shared heritage. Please, Giusy.
Thank you, Samuele. Yes, I'm Giusy Papalardo, working with Samuele and Marco on the Branch project, a postdoctoral researcher. And so reflecting a bit on the issue of how to allow cultural shifts, how to generate improvements and impacts. We know that, of course, when we engage with local communities, especially in some contested and difficult context, we cannot escape the fact that we are engaging with multifaceted, often conflictual and never monolithical local communities. So what can we do with our work? Our idea is that our work on the ground can try to foster a collective learning process. So in line a bit with what has been said at the beginning of this session today by Giulia and Maria Soledad. So it's the idea of generating a learning process, a collective learning process. But of course, we also face limitation related with the duration of our projects on the ground. The Branch project is a 3 years project. So what can we do really in this time that we have? So first of all, as Samuel said, we took the opportunity of using this project to experiment with a people's plan. And our way of experimenting with that is first of all to challenge the assumption that some local actor possess a specialized, isolated, or legitimatized knowledge more than others. So instead, what we try to do with the people plan is that we would like to give voice to the ones that are usually excluded from institutional planning processes. And so we think that the strength of our action lies exactly in this effort of creating this form of collective knowledge. And this is a process that is at the same time powerful, empowering, but also demanding, because it requires continuous negotiation and struggles, including stories, knowledge, legacies that comes from marginalized groups. And I will now give you an example that comes from one of the practices we are engaging with, that is in Buenos Aires. As Samuel said, we are engaging with several cases on the ground. This is significant because it has something to, we can reflect on some points. So over there, we have been working with a museum, the Migrant Museums. That is an active co-producer of this idea of establishing a process for People's Plan. And that's interesting for us because it gives us an example of what museums can do when they engage in experimental practices with an interdisciplinary approach and an experimental approach. So our focus over there is a contaminated river, the Matanza Riachuelo, and the restoration process that involves complex and contested actions such as relocation of residents that live in informal settlements along the river, or on the other side, there is a negotiation for trying to reflect on how to provide services for those settlements to transform them in neighborhoods. Then the process is related with the legacy of industry and questioning the role of polluting industries for the river and rethinking the river's use and enjoyment for navigation and the reconnection with it and other purpose. Everything in relation with the challenge of climate change and reflections on climate justice. So over there, we are confronted with power dynamics that along the year have selected what identities are part of the river as a brand for an overall strategy of gentrification and touristification of the city on one side, and what identities are forgotten, like those of the migrants, but also of the indigenous communities we are engaging with and we are working with. So through the People's Plan, what we can, yes,
Sorry,
I'm out.
Start the conclusion. Perfect.
So, sorry,
you have 30 seconds.
Okay, so just to say that the aim of the People Plan was to amplify the voices of the marginalized. So I'm not entering to the details of how we have done this, and we're gonna write that in our publication. So the details are there. Just to wrap up and conclude, I think that the core of our work is to try to create the preconditions of these long-term collective learning processes and to deal with living heritage as some constitutive element of the present struggle. So living heritage as something that is incorporated into present struggles for climate justice, but more general for a better life of those that are marginalized and whose memories have been silenced. And that's it. Sorry for being long.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So please write your questions on the chat. So now we go to Ecomuseu dos Campos de São José. Is Maria Siqueira here?
Hello. Yes, I'm here and trying
so
to
the
make
floor
my
is yours.
camera function. Yes, hello.
Yes,
hello,
we hear you
good
well.
morning. Okay, let me mark my time, my 7 minutes here. So I'm Maria Siqueira Santos. I'm from Brazil. I'm from the city of São José dos Campos. And I'm going to talk about Ecomuseu dos Campos de São José, or Ecomuseu CSJ. This is a project, and it's important to say that it's a cultural project with social environmental impact that aims to foster community empowerment through the promotion of the cultural and natural heritage to germinate local development. So our principal objective is to integrate the community, cultural, and the society. And when we do that, and we started with conversation, with musical meetings or cinema, we started talking about things that worry the persons in a city, in the neighborhood. And then it came to us that the environmental problem was something very important. So then we started to work with that. It was implemented in 2015 by Centro de Estudos da Cultura Popular, or a civil society organization, also responsible for the Folklore Museum of São José dos Campos. So we talk about popular culture. The Ecomuseum project is developed in the municipalities of São José dos Campos and Jambeiro, also in the state of São Paulo. It was designed by Angela Savastano and connect this community, territory, and heritage to establish a dialogue about the cultural practice and the natural elements historically constituted in the territory. This dialogue, which seeks to build collective solutions to local challenges, enables the creation of collaborative and shared social technologies to produce transformative social experience from the perspective of sustainability and resilience, fundamental characters for navigating a planet in a climate emergency. So I will give some examples of the changes we had. Nowadays, we have 180 families that compost their organic waste every week. And this, it means that 40 tons of organic waste are removed from the landfill. It seems small when we talk about the global, but it's too much for the persons, for the families that don't put little bit of waste in the landfill, and they are composing this communitarily every week, and it's a time of integrating families with different ages, and we have 4 spaces of communitary compostation here in São José dos Campos. It means the non-emission of 27 T per cubic meters of GHG into the Earth's atmosphere. And we planted 10,000 urban trees, and we are planning to plant 15,000 trees by 2028. And we have a seedling nursery that we are producing seedling too. We have already 3,000 tree seedlings produced. And it means a stock of 42 T per cubic meters of CO2 equivalent. And we are making the conservation of a native Atlantic forest animals at risk of extinction. It's called Calitrix aurita, or here we say sagui da serra escuro, sagui caveirinha. It's a very special animal that we need to take care. And all of these things are planned and act with the community. So some strategies, some creative community strategies we have are the discussion groups that work weekly. It's very, very important because we plan and we discuss everything with the participants. The prospection of intangible heritage in the territories. Every week we go to the neighborhoods. We work on 28 neighborhoods here in São José dos Campos. And Jambeiro is a small city, so we work in all the city. We make this prospection to know people, to know the challenges, to know their cultural heritage, and to start the dialogue. We produce craft fairs, musical memory gatherings, as I told before, and formal and informal education activities. So all of this we make with the community. So community members share ideas and discuss solutions. We are always discussing solutions with them because all of them have ideas and have abilities that can help the community to solve their problems. So we collectively building improvements of everything we have to do, like the garden, the vegetable garden, the compost, our compost potatoes. I don't know how to say that in English now, but the place where you put our waste. And we participate together in planting and cleaning campaigns, what we call here mutirões, and offering workshops about any subjects, and including the subjects they ask us to bring for everybody. So as the changes need to be incorporated by every person, our activities include everyone, children, adults, elderly, and we put everybody together to talk and to think about the needs we have. And I bring here 2 examples of cultural and ecological impact. The first one is a deployment of Getúlio Soares. He is a luthier. I really don't know how to say that in English, but it's a person that makes instruments, musical instruments. He worked in a fabric before, but now he is not working anymore. So he says, the Eco Museum was a transformation in my life, providing the opportunity to share my skills and culture, as well as join the community in preserving our fauna and flora. At a time when the planet most needs conscious action, our neighborhood has become an example of a community united in a common goal, environmental preservation. And the other example is an artisan from Campos de São José, that is one neighborhood. Her name is Regiana Leixo. She's an artisan and she makes her pieces using recycled aluminum, and now she's connecting with lots of persons, regional, national, international. And this picture, for example, is one fashion show that took place in New York City, and she's very happy, and she's really transformed by this opportunity of showing her art to many persons. And this happened before, after she started join Eco Museum. And to finish,
we have just 30 seconds to conclude, please.
Okay. I just want to say that we Eco Museu is carried out in partnership with Petrobras through the Petrobras Social and Environment Program. Here in Brazil is a very big program of Petrobras, and also counts on the partnership of São José City Government, universities, schools, and other partners. Okay, our strategies. Risk mitigation strategies is fundraising constantly. We have to do that, hiring people from the community and training community multipliers. So our future actions is that we want, and we have to continue the work that has been going on for 10 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So now we go to the next practice. Georgia, are you there?
Yes, Catalina, thank you very much. So, buenos dias.
The floor is yours now.
Yes, buenos dias. I'm Georgia Canelopoulou, and my team, Buluki and we are very grateful of being part of Weavers of the Future and the EcoLivre International Meeting. I am a geoenvironmental engineer specialized in environment and sustainable development of remote and rural areas. And I will present the main aspects of the project Connectivity Conservation Initiative for Fresh Drinking Water. Next. Buluki is a Greece-based interdisciplinary cultural organization whose work is focused on the study of traditional building techniques and materials, and we work mostly in the mountainous region of Epirus in the northwest Greece, where this project is also taking place, and we also have projects in Cyclades Islands. The Conserve Connect project is an ongoing project which has completed 2 years of implementation, and it has secured funding for the next 3 years. The core actions of the project involve the restoration of traditional freshwater supply infrastructures in order to support biodiversity, contributing at the same time in protecting, restoring, and promoting the sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, and of course taking urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts for both wildlife and human. In addition, as the restoration is taking part within a participatory approach, the project ensures the equal access to education and leadership roles, finally contributing in the 3 SDGs 15, 13, and 5, as you can see the slide. Next. The project affiliates to participatory conservation governance and management through the establishment of a place-based initiative between local communities, researchers, environmental and cultural associations, and local and regional authorities. Our vision is based in order to enhance the ecological integrity, to secure provision of ecosystem services, and to foster social and ecological resilience by exploiting local traditional ecological knowledge. Next. But how do we learn from local traditional ecological knowledge? When referring to local knowledge, we refer to the perceptions, skills, and narratives developed by societies with a long history of interaction with their natural environment. The traditional knowledge is maintained and passed on from generation to generation in a community, and the ecological knowledge is the understanding of the functions of ecosystems. Putting all of that together, we get a system of knowledge, traditions, and practices that are heavily dependent on place. This knowledge is at the interface between environmental and cultural diversity and can provide information, methods, theory, and practice for sustainable planning and management of natural and cultural heritage. We harvest this knowledge by exploiting participatory knowledge sharing procedures using cultural and community mapping and walking interviews, and by organizing focus group discussion sessions based on intergenerational participation. Next, please. The scope of those activities is to study traditional ecological knowledge so as to apply them in nature-based solutions for climate adaptation actions and provide a cultural and ecological impact. Regarding the ecological improvements, till now we have restored 3 water constructions that improve vital ecosystem services, providing water to wildlife and human. In addition, there are certain social benefits as we provided already local communities with a citizen science guidebook regarding sustainable water management, and we organized a wide number of capacity building workshops. Next, please. So all in all, the collaborative work we do of restoration helped to develop new forms of communication, mutual understanding, and learning practices between different stakeholders. And our team Buluki and our partner Karlstad have already established a strong synergy with the municipality of Concha and the UNESCO Global Geopark of Bikosaus. And we already work with our main funder, Press-Paukriti Nature Trust, on a connectivity conservation strategy in order to expand the restoration and conservation activities in Balkans. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. So now we have time for the questions. Do we have any questions on the chat? Let me see. Gloria.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you everyone for those really inspiring presentations. Just while we're waiting for any questions to come in specifically for the speakers, I was just wondering, are all the slides going to be included in the exhibition under their entries so that people can come back and reflect on them, because the information on the slides is just really useful, I think, for people to use. That's the general one, I suppose, to Raul and yourself.
Yes, we will publish the meeting proceed in the website. You also find in the website the recordings of the day one of the meeting. So, but in the last part of this day, I'll talk you about this.
Great, thanks.
I don't see any questions, but I have one for everyone of how to ensure the continuity of the project when it finished, to create a governance that includes all of those different actors that you mentioned, and that sometimes we don't have, for example, the local or national governments that engage. So how you manage this continuity of the project? You can take the floor.
I can go first and I'll stay very brief. And but just going back, for example, to the case we presented in Argentina, I said the project is 3 years long, but we are engaging with a small group of local young students, activists. We have 4 + 1 cooperative, other 4 people working with us, and with them we are trying to commit to a process that has a life after the project. And the role of museums engaged there is also to guarantee some continuity. In that sense, of course, economic resources to sustain the projects on the ground are important, but also you can keep the conversation ongoing, even with few means. And the idea of having a plan, this document that has a long run perspective, also is to try to imagine steps that can be done after that specific project that has started the process. So that's using, combining several tools, planning tools, relying on local actors, on local activism, relying on local museums, and trying to connect all these pieces could be a strategy.
Thank you, Juicy. I don't know if one of the others wants to answer to this question. We also have another question in the chat, but if somebody wants to answer to the general question.
I can answer the general question, and then I answer the one that Julia asked me in the chat. Is it okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so here in Ecomuseu Campo São José, we don't have the financial support of the city government. So it's not a public ecomuseum. It's a ecomuseum created and developed by a social civil organization. And now I'm going to connect with her question. Our fundraising comes from Petrobras. It's a petrol enterprise of Brazil, of the biggest one here. And it's, as she's asking, if it's or not a barrier, and if persons ask or talk about this as a problematic thing. Yeah, I have to answer this question so many times. And it's first of all, I have to tell you that as a Brazilian, I think that Petrobras is a very important enterprise here. And it's really important to talk about other ways, other energy sources, of course. And Petrobras is doing that while it's taking petrol from the sea, because we are in a humanity that uses this source of energy a lot. I think, and it's personally, that is important to Brazil to have this independent in energy source. And we have to look for another way as all the world. We here in the community, we talk about this, and many persons that participate in Eco Museum worked before at Petrobras, because we are in the neighborhood of Petrobras here. So this enterprise has a big impact in these neighborhoods, all of the neighborhoods we work. So it's not a mitigation project. This program of Petrobras is volunteer, but they have lots of mitigation projects, of course, but this one is not. So it's very big program. If you want to look in the internet, many programs, and most of the programs of biodiversity and deforestation and ecological projects in Brazil are financed by Petrobras. So it's a very important enterprise, as I told you, because it has social responsibility here. And it's really important to use this funding to I think this. I'm not talking about. I'm not saying as Petrobras, because I don't work there. No? You know, I am a social civil organization, but it's really important for persons to know that this is a big enterprise of Brazil, and it's really important to talk about these projects, talk with the enterprise, and make this dialogue happen. You know, I don't know if I answer your question. It's a little bit difficult to. It's a little bit problematic, as you said, but we talk about this every time, and when people talk and ask about this, and well, that's it. If you want to ask any other question, I can answer.
I just wanted to share that I'm asking because as university, we face a kind of similar situation. We had so we received some funding from Eni, which is like the Italian company, and there was a lot of internal debate. The representative for the sustainability policy of the university left its charge with a very upset letter because the university was taking money from the company. But at the same time, the other side is true, like you need the money to do the investigation. So I was curious. I was honestly curious about, you know, what's the debate on your side, because I see some similar problem.
Okay, yeah, it is.
Thank you. Yes, indeed, it's an important question to highlight, because we are talking about the difficulties of the fundings for the projects, but at the same time we have this I don't know, contradiction, because also we can see it in when we work with indigenous communities. For them, it is very important, for example, not to have any funding from the exploitation companies. So yeah, it's a discussion that we can leave there for the book and other discussions we can have after. So now I will give the floor to Isabel to continue with the next group of practice. And thank you very much for the inspiration you give to us. Isabel, are you there?
Yes, here I am. Thank you, Catalina, and thank you to the panelists. As before, each presentation will have 7 minutes. I'll let you know once you have 1 minute left. And we can start with Green Power, presented by Tamsin and Simanur, if you're there. I'm sorry if I butcher pronunciations.
Hello. It's just myself, Tamsin, today. Simanur is not able to be with us. So I'm Tamsin Greaves, and I'm at Mansfield Museum in the UK, and I'm also a postgraduate researcher at Nottingham Trent University, studying the benefits of creativity for recovery from trauma. And I'm going to talk to you about green power. Next slide, please. So green power is a community well-being and creative engagement program which began as Art Power at Mansfield Museum in 2022. So we now have participants who've been with us for nearly 4 years. Green Power is designed specifically for women living with the aftermath of domestic and sexual abuse and other trauma. And the project offers a safe and welcoming environment to create, connect, and keep learning. Our participants are women in recovery, and the work requires sensitivity, understanding, and empathy. Through artist-led workshops, nature and health activities, including growing, cooking, forest bathing, yoga, trips to museums and galleries, Green Power supports participants in building confidence, social networks, and a renewed sense of place and belonging. Next. The psychiatrist Judith Herman describes 3 stages of recovery from trauma. First, the establishment of safety. Second, remembrance and mourning. And third, reconnection with ordinary life. Green Power aims to support all 3 stages through trauma-informed practice. And the picture here shows our Green Woman carnival puppet made from repurposed and reused materials, which was paraded in the streets of Mansfield last June. The J9 heart at the bottom is the logo of the J9 initiative, which is a domestic abuse disclosure safe space. So it means that women can come into the museum and find some a welcome and a safe space to talk. Next, please. This picture shows the Green Power Women's Art Hub. This is a space in the local park, and it was an unused space next to the museum. The project has repurposed it as a creative studio. Workshops are held here 2 or 3 times a week and offer opportunities to print, stitch, collage, and write. The Green Power Group are currently planning and co-creating an exhibition which will open on International Women's Day next year. The exhibition, which is called Green Power, Red Flags, will display our community's artworks and advocate for an end to gender abuse. Next slide, please. We have also adopted this Victorian greenhouse. It had been unused for several years, and although it is a heritage building, it had been left to deteriorate. Many of our participants do not have gardens or access to green spaces, and it's worth noting that for women in recovery often, and women generally, our green spaces are not always the welcome space we would like them to be. They're not always spaces that people feel safe. So the greenhouse has been restored and repainted, and we're planning our 3rd year of growing organic vegetables to cook and eat together. As you can see here, we had a bumper harvest of tomatoes this year, and this picture shows chutney making in progress at the Women's Art Hub. Our future plans are to continue our work to reach more of Mansfield's communities, as we know that gender abuse has no cultural boundaries, and the participants who are referred to us are so far predominantly white British. So we are taking action to reach other communities. Our goal is to secure local authority funding to sustain the work and preserve it from its precarious short-term funding model. To finish, I would like to echo Lucy Mara's focus on the health of relationships, which she talked about yesterday. At Green Power, relationships are everything, and our work centers these relationships. The relationships between all the actors involved, the participants, facilitators, support services, the museum, funders, and the climate. More than this, I would suggest regenerative relationships are key to empower women who have been let down by society to rebuild trust with others and with the world around them. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we can continue with our next presentation. If you have any questions, please write them in the chat and we'll address them at the end of all the presentations. We go with Kai Hall from the Barbados Museum.
Good morning, everyone. I am Kay Hall from the Barbados Museum and Historical Society. And we'll be looking at using our museum as a kind of a case study on how to connect with the community to build a climate active community museum. First slide, please. We are a fairly old organization. We've been around since 1933. Which is old for a Caribbean entity, but it has only been in the last 20 years or so that we've been looking at community programming. But our experience has been that involving and privileging what needs more sustainable and more relevant programming for our audiences. What we're going to be talking about briefly this morning is the establishment of our Climate Action Hub, which came out of a shared island stories project, which we would have done with St. Andrews University. It's a number of projects. So we first partnered with them in 2016, but basically that project was called EcoLivre Museums, and it looked at community museums in the Caribbean and how they could position themselves to best service those communities. History and engagement was a part of her PhD work, a sustainable museum practice called a community of curatorial creation, which is intended to integrate the community into what the museum must become. That project has led to further collaborations with St. Andrews, the most recent of which has been shared island stories between Scotland and the Caribbean, past, present, and future. And having involved the youth and engaged them in this project, which looked at our small island developing states as our small islands as vulnerable spaces in the face of climate action, and basically providing our young people with the tools to better understand that, and with the impetus, as it were, a safe space where they could create their own climate action projects where we could foster that growth and sort of lead them to the point where they could take over leadership on these things. We discovered that empowering the community, giving them that space, gives them the opportunity to really influence how we can change the culture of the wider community. So with that in mind, we at the end of 2023 coming out of this program, and from this hub, quite a bit of programming has resulted. So we've done a number of different things. Could we just go back up to the previous slide, please? Right. Yes. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Right. So one of the things that we want to see is the input, the continued input of these young people, where they take over the management of that sustained culture, that sustained resilience, where basically they are empowered through the capacity building and the confidence building work with the museum to actually effect critical climate action change. We've done some work with a number of different projects. The UNESCO Geoheritage tagging, they've participated in that, and they've done their own critical eco-science projects for sustainable living. So there's a sustainable museums project, which has a number of sub-projects like Crochet for a Cause, which provides support to preventing deterioration of the coral reefs. They've reached out to the Barbados Sea Turtle Project, and they're a part of that, but also programs of their own. So they've established thrifting programs, they have community wellness programs, and basically our goal is to empower those students. We've also had a student who has started research on the sustainable reuse of sargassum seaweed, which comes across from Africa and clogs up our coastlines. So it's protecting the beach ecosystem, but also finding sustainable reuse. All of these things are the types of things we've been supporting, and what we want to see fuel even more and more knock-on change within our communities as what the work they're doing spreads to the wider community. The project, like I said, was done through the lens of the SDGs. It used pretty much all of them. I didn't put it in the folder, but I think I will add it to the folder, just the document that shows you how each module was linked to the SDGs, so you can see how the program worked. But basically, the program itself is based on constructive learning and our community of curatorial practice, which means that they always have input into what they learn and how we develop that support for them and the wider community through them. For us, we think it is completely relevant because we've seen measurable impacts come out of that, not in terms of numbers of people participating, but in things like additions of geoheritage sites of Barbados to the UNESCO Geoheritage Project, the addition of a resolution to the ICOM General Assembly's resolutions for next week, which looks at youth and climate action. Things like that are things that have come out of this project quite organically as we continue to lead to facilitate their learning process. Next slide, please.
There's 1 minute left.
Pardon me?
There's 1 minute left.
That's fine. So this is just a quick outline of the way how that community and engagement works with creativity. It's a cyclical process where we encourage research and we do continuing development. We say continuing exhibition with that development, but it is really continuing development of research possibilities. So sometimes it's an exhibition, sometimes it's social media content, sometimes it's programming, but basically that cycle is continued and engaged as we add more programming and more people to the model. Next slide, please. Hello? Oh, right. So basically, we're looking at some real cultural benefits. Our participants have exhibited ongoing creativity in the solutions that they have brought to us. And we're happy to see that they're not necessarily daunted by field efforts, but rather they're viewing the programming as an ongoing work of strategy and learning and overcoming challenges with our support. We've been seeing ecological improvements through their work. They've been planting trees, they've been fundraising, they've been cleaning. This is all rooted in the understanding that we need to continue doing, capacity building, not just with the critical thinking skills, but also creative awareness solutions to artistic expression. So we've had some murals coming out of our program aimed at public awareness and education, particularly with regard to what we would call our smaller community representations. So for example, we've just done a project with the East Indian community, which is a smaller part of Barbados's overall population, looking at their contribution and also including them in the story that is told of our nation. Potential future impacts, we're looking at creating a toolkit for use in the global south so that what we've done can be used by museums elsewhere, both in SIDS and LDCs. Obviously, there's also the support for the resolution. Obviously, we've already signed and voted for the agreement of Belém. And of course, we're going to be doing expanded climate action programming facilitated by the Hub. Thank you very much. Right, so next steps, we're looking at risk mitigation. We're looking at trying to make the plan more sustainable. So we're looking at ways to access continuous funding. Each time we want to do something, so far we've had to go out and fund that particular project, or we've had to prioritize projects which require less funding. What we're looking to do is to find a way to feed continuous funding back into it, as that is our biggest challenge, and that's the biggest risk to the project not being sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you, Kai. Now we give the floor to Fanny Walters. Are you here, Fanny? Hello. Well, we'll wait for Fanny Walters then. Now we give the floor to Ibrahim.
Yes.
The floor is yours, Ibrahim. I think I just put in the presentation.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you so much. So my name is Chan Ibrahim. I am from Benin, is in West Africa. I am a director and co-founder of EcoMusée Tatasumba. It is the first ecological museum in West Africa. And I would like to talk about our project, who is regeneration, truth, community, culture, and health. Next, please. Okay, good. We are working about a traditional building. I see that many projects are also working on local knowledge, traditional knowledge, and indigenous knowledge. We also are doing the same. And this building name is Takienta and is going to disappear. And today we are trying to keep all the knowledge and make it available for youth, for young, and for all the community. So we start this project since 2018, and now we are going to create something that we create Afro Muse Lab, who will help us to make 3D model of all the objects that we can find on this this building and put it on something of like a virtual museum. Next slide. So as I was saying, the knowledge is going to disappear because of many things. Because youth they don't want anymore to be involved in the ancestral knowledge, in the traditional building. For them is not the building that they need or they want to have, because they see modern building on TikTok, on YouTube, online, and they want to have a modern building. So they are going away from all those knowledge, and our projects are trying to create a space for them, to reconnect them to this by creating this thing that we call School of Local or Traditional Knowledge Transmission, where we connect together old people who still have knowledge to young people, to allow them to learn more about how they can still continue to build this, because this building is very important for Batamariba people. It's connected with people, nature, and with land. So it's very it's something very very connected to all the life of all the cycle of all the cycle of life of Batamariba. So today, as I was saying, youth are not interested, and also because of climate change, there is no anymore materials to build, because the materials like wood are going to disappear because of deforestation, and many many other impact of climate change are very have very big impact of this building, and we are really trying to keep the knowledge, because it's the first step if we want to save the building, is to keep the knowledge, and then after try to see how we can make a conservation of the materials who help to build. Next. So I was saying that we create a kind of school of knowledge transmission. Is both for women and for men, because in this community, men build the house, but the women take care about the house. And today, it's the same problem. In terms of knowledge in the hand of the men is going to disappear, and also in terms of knowledge in the hand of the women are also going to disappear. So we create those schools to teach young girls and youth about this knowledge. But for women especially, we also create economical opportunity for them, because it's good to keep heritage, but it's also important to have what they will eat in their house, because this challenge about living every day is also a big problem, is a big deal. So if they are not in a safe condition, if they are not eat anything, they can't go to hospital, they never can't also save heritage. So we create local economical opportunity for them by creating the thing that we call local cooperative for women, for culture and for economical activity. And they are now allowed to work on how they can use local materials to transform and have a product that they can sell locally, regionally, and internationally. And the income of those activities can be reinvested now in the
There's 1 minute left
of this building. Next, please. Yes, as you can see, this is how the building is look like. And I can talk also about climate justice to say that this building is a solution about climate change. It's a bioclimatical building. When it's hot outside, inside is cold. And it's also built with local materials, and is a low carbon emission building. But today, Mariba people are not going to the COP and say that we have the solution about climate change. They are still in the village. And also, when everything is hot, they are in the face of the impact of climate change. And they have solution, they can't use this solution. This is a part of climate justice that we are talking about in terms of how we can recognize local knowledge like a solution about climate change. Thank you. I think is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ibrahim. And now we give the floor to Dimitra.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
So I'm Dimitra Papaioannidou. I'm an environmentalist. You can hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. As I was saying, I'm an environmentalist from Greece, and I'm part of Ecomuseum Zagori. And I'm going to share with you the project about the reviving heritage and ecology in the transhuman paths. In the next slide. So, as I mentioned, I'm part of Ecomuseum Zagori. We are a social cooperative enterprise based in northwest Greece, and we established since 2014. And our focus is in the promotion and conservation of the natural and cultural area heritage of the area. Zagori area is a mountainous region with a lot of traditional cultural heritage, and that is unfortunately declining and rapidly disappearing, especially traditional pastoral practices. And it's disappearing due to mostly the population and land development. So what we do as EcoMuseum Zagori, we are trying to promote the role of transhumance practice in sustainable management and protection of the environment, the biodiversity conservation, and the local development. If you could show the next slide, please. So our vision is to, and what we are doing is we are involving through this project the local communities, the local shepherds, youth, universities, local universities of the nearest city of Ioannina, schools, teachers, university students, etc., who are all in the project. And what we are trying to change is to move from heritage as a static memory to showcase it as a living heritage, and to have stronger bonds and relationship between the people, the landscape, and the natural environment, specifically the biodiversity. And we're trying to do this through the promotion of and showcasing the transhumance practice, participatory mapping of transhumance trail, and biodiversity monitoring. Now, when it comes to climate action, there is a lot of relevance as we promote the low-impact traditional pastoralism and ecosystem restoration. We support also climate adaptation by maintaining open the grasslands and wildlife habitats, and we're trying to contribute through this project to climate awareness through educational programs and local stewardship. Regarding the community resilience, basically through this project we safeguard the intangible cultural heritage of transhumance practice, which is also listed in and acknowledged through the UNESCO. We strengthen intergenerational learning and rural livelihoods, and we're trying to build local capacity to adapt to social environmental changes. And in the next slide, please. So basically here I just wanted to mention some basic activities which are part of a bigger project that we are collaborating with the very well established NGO Hellenic Ornithological Society, with the funding support of the Prespa Orchid Nature Trust. What we've done is a mobile exhibition called Following the Flocks, which was showcasing transhumance practice through photographic archives and video portraits from women shepherds. We also implemented and organized sound walks and soundscape recordings along the transhumance trails in the area. And we also implemented some participatory biodiversity recording workshops. We try to map the transhumance trails and integrate them in an EcoLog an application for iOS and Android. It's called EcoLog app, and visitors can enter the application, walk through the transhumance trails, and have a look at the data we collected through the participatory workshops. Of course, it was a shared governance structure that we followed, and the strong collaboration was the biggest and very important part of the project. We collaborated not only with the NGO that I mentioned, but also with local cultural associations, the municipality of Zagoris, local efforts, schools and universities. And also a very important aspect, it was the intergenerational participation through the project, which was accomplished mostly through the educational programs that they were for children. They were coming into contact with efforts about the nature and the traditions of transhumans, and of course elder knowledge transmission through the video portraits I mentioned, with the women's efforts sharing their stories. In the next page. Thank you. Now about the cultural and ecological impact. We try to showcase. Yes. We try to showcase the significance of transhumance as a living practice that is fighting to continue until today. Through the BioBlitz events, we're documenting the flora and fauna, which was also showed some ecological improvements. We try to have some social benefits, empowering the women and youth in environmental laws. And we are inspired, we hope that this project can give inspiration for similar community-led initiatives across other regions, like specifically Mediterranean mountain areas. I think that was the last slide. So just very quickly to say about the feasibility next step, this wouldn't have been possible and feasible without the collaborations that I mentioned, and the funding support. And we hope for next steps to integrate new trails and have more BioBlitz workshops, and find a new routes to involve them in the ecology application. Thank you. I hope I made it for the time.
Thank you, Dimitra. Now we can go to Fanny Walter if she's here. Hello, Fanny. Okay, it seems like she's not here, so
she's in the list of participants. I don't know if her mic's activated or not.
I'm here.
Oh, there she is. Yes. Hello. Perfect.
Hello, everyone.
Perfect.
Okay.
We can start it.
Yes, great. So I talk about a project in a little village in southeast of France. The name is Mérindol, and Catalina lives also in this area. And 2 years ago, as I'm involved in gross national happiness, I really wanted to launch this project locally. Because the idea of this project is completely a shift of governance, and this is a realignment on 3 dimensions. The first is oneself with oneself, so it's more the spiritual part. The second one is oneself with the others, so the social part. And the third one is oneself with the nature. So here, that's why also we are here. So it means the intention is really happiness of citizens, and happiness with the others and the nature. So we, so yes, you can go next. So to start, we had the opportunity with the mayor, who wanted to make the citizens more involved in the village governance, and he proposed some budget for projects proposed by citizens. And in fact, I was the only adult
to propose a subject because it's really new. So even people do not take their responsibility to be engaged and to propose. They prefer to say it's not going well, but they are not engaged. So I started this project with the budget of the local mayor, and then I organized some workshop to make more consciousness about this shift. So slowly, some people, to start, we have 15 people engaged, and slowly, they change their mindset. And with Catalina, we saw a lady of 32 years, very changed. She had the death of her husband, for example, and she was completely upset. And in fact, to be involved in such a project, she completely shifted and engaged herself. And even today, she became the treasurer of the local association, but also the national association, GNH Center France. We can go on. Next slide. So we had many events. The local association tried to get involved in other local projects. Some were to make more consciousness about nature, some on creativity and art, and also poetry. So one project was launched to get happiness quote to in order that if people walk in the village, then they will get a good inspiration. And also other artists were proposed to put nice things. So you have a butterfly, very big butterfly in the village. You have a big metallic flowers and many things to slowly makes the village nice. And also we are very lucky because we live between little mountain, a very nice river. So citizens really want to keep it clean, and also participation project to start in order to get green energy with solar, because we are in a country with very nice sun. And it was an opportunity also to remove dust in the roof of public buildings. So it and also we try to manage this project in participation governance. And also other projects started with international participation, intergeneration, and also I was with a workshop with people with more than 90 years old, interested about how to answer to the GNH questionnaire and play with cards. So it was wow to hear about these ladies for more than 19 years old, to think about that and talk about their experience. And also it gives a willing to make children less than 3 years old to meet these elders more than 19 years old. So this is some experimentation going on with such GNH project. Of course, we had barriers.
1 minute left.
Yeah, we have barriers because this is so different big shift of paradigm that to start, the elected people do not understand well what's going on. But after, it was wow to hear the mayor last January for New Year to use the focus and the intention for happiness of the citizens and respect of nature. He told about that even 4 times, and we go through on more invisible techniques through this resistance, and it works. So this is to encourage people to go inner side. It's like a reflection, a mirror of what's going on outer. And so, yes, we really want to encourage this both side, inner and outer, for the nature and oneself. So I think it's done. I go through quickly.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Now, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. I think Raul started us with asking Ibrahim to know more about the project feasibility and the next steps they want to do there.
So the idea is that this project in this village is like an experimentation, and we want that other village start such projects. We are at this phase, and also we co-create a questionnaire, and it's not so easy to get answers because it's very intimate answers we ask to citizens, but it's very interesting to see how we can improve inner security in order people be able to answer.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? I think Raul wants to know about that same thing from Ibrahim from Katasumba.
Maybe I can tell you also that just at the moment.
What is the question, please?
Project feasibility and the next steps that you want to do there.
Yes, next step is linked to what I'm doing today and next week, because I will be part of the first international global GNH forum in Bhutan. Yeah, so it's wow, it will be the first one after 50 years of experimentation in Bhutan. So it's like, it seems the time to extend this model everywhere in the world.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Do we have any more questions? Do you want to answer, Ibrahim?
Yes, I can say that we're really sorry for the noisy. I can say that we really want to connect new technology and preservation of this building. So we want to create many tools about how we can use now technology to preserve this building. So we start to make 3D modeling, and after this we really want to use it like a content for exhibition, for education, because we are really we are working a lot with children. So we want to bring all those tools to the school and teach now children about this building and about climate change also.
Thank you. I think Julia has a question.
Yeah, very short one. It's for the Green Power project. Well, it's kind of 2 questions. One question is I was just curious, she mentioned something that I found very interesting about green spaces not being perceived as safe for at least part of the population. And I just wanted to know something more about this, like if they are addressing this, what they're doing about it, and how did it came up. And also I was maybe she said and I didn't understand, but the people they work with, are they all people that have been experiencing some kind of violent situation, or there is a mixing? It's so like they have these spaces, are they open to other women, or, and also are they specifically directed to women? Is this something that it's more wide open? I don't know, you know, with the gender definition.
Yes, no, well, to answer that question first, we are a female safe space, but the included in that women and those who present as women. So we're inclusive in that sense. The women that who come to us are referred through different services, mostly through domestic abuse services and sexual violence support services, such as Women's Aid, and there are various local ones as well. Also through an organisation called Change, Grow, Live, which deals with women who are have issues around substance abuse and are in recovery, and also through social prescribers. So our community isn't totally women who are in recovery from gender-based abuse, but all have some kind of trauma that they're living with. And in terms of the green spaces, the parks, you know, are spaces where abuse historically has taken place. And if you're on your own, a single woman walking through a park in daytime, and certainly, you know, dusk and evening, it can feel very uncomfortable and unwelcoming and unsafe. So using those spaces in the park as community spaces has the effect of reclaiming those spaces for everybody.
Thank you. I think we have another question from Raul to Fanny. He's asking if the municipality is engaged in the project and if it empowers the process.
In fact, we were lucky because the mayor knows very well his citizens. So to start, I was so enthusiastic that I wanted to start the project even 4 years ago. But he said, no, you are not known, citizens are not ready. So he helped me, in fact, to be more in contact with local citizens, and then slowly about, and also to talk about this shift in intention of happiness. And that's why it took 2 years just to make a little aware of the elected people, and after they let me this opportunity. And also there is a change as in the team of the mayor, and I have one in partnership, and she's very open-minded. She's practicing Tai Chi and many energetic approach. So this is very mindfulness and so on. So this is very helpful because when I talk about this profound inner shift, at least one can follow, and she can make like traduction for the rest of the team. So it makes possible.
Perfect, thank you. Do we have any other questions? Let me see if anyone has their hand raised. Okay. If no one else has any other questions, we can then go to the reflections and the lessons we learned from this session. Well, first of all, I would like to thank all of you for your participation. It was wonderful to hear from all of you and your wonderful projects. And I think we can all agree that most of the objectives that all the projects have to do with giving voices to everyone, including the women, the youth, the marginalized communities. You're also very focused on stimulating creativity and generating and constructing knowledge processes. You're all very interested in intergenerational exchange and the importance of local knowledge. And I think that's wonderful to see. And it's wonderful to see how you have created networks within your own communities and also at a wider scale like we're doing right now.
Yes, continue with what Isabel just said. So even if we have like many different practices, we see that we have like a very common inspiration. I don't know how to say, but we have the objectives, as Isabel said, but also the methods like mapping, the construction of narratives or storytelling. Also the manual on the artistic approaches, the interdisciplinarity, and what we see in all of the practices is the linking culture with nature of the territory, even if it is urban or rural areas, because we have from both, but with and for the community and the communities, as Hugues de Varin always said. And this is also in coherence with Paulo Freire, that we also know is an inspiration for us in the pedagogy approach, where the scientists or experts are in symbiosis with the communities to create collective actions to face different impacts from climate change or other environmental or social crises. So this is what we call today resilience. This what we come from this co-construction with this dialogue, and also open up to other challenges that were highlighted, like the power dynamics, the funding, even the source of that funding, the institutional collaboration, the youth engagement for the transmission of intangible heritage, for example. And also in all the presentations, it was funny because it was this wording, I don't know if we recreate of the wording, it was with the so recreate, renew, reconnect, recover, resilience, regeneration, reviving. So you see, we are all from different parts of the world with different practices, different point of view maybe, but we gather together in a same way of bringing new paradigms or new ways of governance, of actions in the territories. And networking is very important, connecting, giving the voice, giving the opportunity to the people that normally they don't have, and all the knowledge are important. That's what we also highlight from these presentations. So now, Isabel, we conclude, I guess, this beautiful session and give the floor also to them.
Yeah, of course. I follow up from what Catalina said, and I think she said it wonderfully. At the core, we all have the same purpose. We're looking to do something to help in this situation, and we're looking to do it from our own corner, which in this case is the cultural heritage corner. And we have seen nature and we have seen climate change, and we are trying to do our best. And these projects just show what a wonderful approach we can have to it, and just the importance of connecting with our communities in general, of trying to be there and giving importance to personal relationships as much as we do to the greater scheme of things. And I think that's how we can conclude this wonderful session, and we can give the floor to the next session. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all the presenters, the panelists for these rich insights, and sure to our chairs, Isabelle and Catalina. Thank you very much. We now move to the closing panel, from practice to policy, to connect today's lessons to global frameworks and share next steps of our work. I share my screen for the last presentation. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. EcoLivre has showed that local culture practices are strategic tools for global climate action. Community museums, eco-museums, bioregioning groups are advancing Paris Agreement goals, the Glasgow Work Programme, and action for climate empowerment, and sure the United Nations 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. The practice in the digital exhibition show climate justice and shared decision-making. They also combine traditional and scientific knowledge. These principles are central to our global framework. Our task is to grow without losing local identity. We need to link local projects to bioregional strategies. Then connect these strategies to national climate plans and global commitments. To do this, we should monitor cultural impacts, so culture action become visible in climate reporting. But there is more. Our responsibility is double: to care for present generation while safeguarding the future one. Climate action cannot be separated. It must work together with all SDGs: poverty reduction, gender equality, education, biodiversity, peace, and so on. This holistic approach makes cultural action for climate justice a real force for big change, not an isolated gesture. We also emphasize power to act and shared responsibility. Governments are not the only actor. Cultural institutions and communities have the power to act now. COP30 is not the end point. It is a catalyst for a process that will continue well beyond Belém. The next step for the network. EcoLivre is the starting point for a longer journey. Here's what comes next: a digital exhibition continuity, the open access book, the 3 years program. The Waivers of the Future platform remains active as a living repository for practice. New practices can still be submitted using the same online form as the original call, available on the website. This will enrich the exhibition with fresh examples, other examples, maybe I hope also in Asia, in Oceania, foster visibility and exchange among practitioners, and create a basis for future collaboration, including national, continental, and global projects under the Waiver of the Future network. One of the most tangible legacy of EcoLivre will be the publication of an open access book scheduled for the end of this year. This book is not just a collection of text, it is planned as the guide for cultural institutions, practitioners, policymakers, and researchers who want to understand and replicate culture-based climate action. The book will tell the story of the Waiver of the Future initiative, give the floor to all the practice, not only the one that we saw today, explaining why culture matters in the climate crisis and how local actors can become catalysts for systemic change. So the structure of the book is double. First part about perspective and frameworks, the big idea behind our work and so on. The second part about practice and experiences, short summaries of all selected projects and full papers for about 10 exemplary initiatives, offering deeper insights into methods, impacts, and lessons learned. The aim is clear: to document methods and impacts, share lessons learned, and highlight the link between heritage, biodiversity, and climate resilience. This book is not just about reporting, it is about building capacity and inspiring action. It will give visibility to the work done so far and create a foundation for future collaboration. This is a starting point, and I kindly ask our panelists to work for this book. The 3 years program is inside the agreement of Belém. We can do much more, and if we work, we will work together. And to do this, we need to vote the agreement of Belém. The agreement of Belém in the final version that with the last amendments that we did is online on our website, and I kindly ask you to vote the agreement. To vote, please use the online form. You will find the link in the chat, or you can use this QR code. Please consider only these 2 key points. The vote is open now and will remain active for the next 3 days, 2 days after the end events of tomorrow. Only Waivers of the Future subscriber can vote. The agreement commits us to recognize culture as a right and as an infrastructure for climate resilience, embrace shared decision making and working together, include ideas for regeneration in everyday work, create common measure for culture and social change, and support clear links between culture action and climate strategies. So by seeing the agreement, we signal to COP30 governments that culture is a systemic lever for climate justice. Our signatures will accompany a formal transmission to COP30 delegates, making the voice of living culture stronger in global talks. The agreement will be reviewed every year to keep it alive and relevant. Responsibility is shared and helpful. We need not control, but transparency and shared progress and a common work. So to conclude this session, I also have to say that the recording of the first 2 days in English will be online. The link for the first day recordings is yet on the website, and as soon as possible, so also the link for this the current day. While the meeting of tomorrow will be in Portuguese, but you can use the caption the translated in English to know what tomorrow will be in the last day of EcoLivre. For tomorrow, day 3, the time that is the same. We will start with opening remarks with the chair Marcio Caraval, Joel Santana for Ibrahim, and Yara Matos. Then a session about Paulo Freire's the role of popular and liberating education for climate justice with Paolo Vittoria and Nadia Almeida. A session with the 5 voices from the field, 5 short presentations from Italy and Brazil. And to finish this final remarks, I would like to give the floor to Teresinha Rezende, the president of Abremci, the network of eco-museum and community museum in Brazil, that would like to talk with us. Teresinha, are you online? Teresinha?
Olá, olá. Hi.
Olá, Teresinha.
Olá. Hi. Oh. One minute. Hi, I'm Teresinha Rezende from Abranque, the Brazilian Network of Community Museums. Thank you all so much for participating today. Tomorrow we continue our global dialogue in Portuguese. The third day of EcoLivre will be an opportunity to dive deep into ideas and make strong the weavers of the future network. I would like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude and Albert with to Ig Varini. His vision and support has inspired much of our work. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. A big hug to everyone.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Teresinha. And thank you, De Varin, for your inspiration.
Gracias, Raul, everyone, and everyone. Tomorrow, amanhã, português, e amanhã aguardaremos todos em português mais à vontade.
Ok, obrigado, Teresinha. So if we have other question, we have time, we are in perfect time also today. Have you any question? I would like if Victoria Macmillan would like to close our second day. Victoria?
I wasn't expecting this, but yeah, thank you to everybody who's presented and chaired all the sessions today, and the presentations from the community projects were just, I think several people have said inspiring and beautiful, and just really showcase everything that we kind of hope the Weavers will help promote by sharing this knowledge and having this chance to connect and build relationships between each other, and to inspire us to go out with our communities, and communities to go out to build those relationships within their communities and to their land as well. And I think that's could be the most fitting kind of legacy that we can have. And I think the way that Raul has put in so much work into this, and how it's been planned, I think it's got a good chance of being really successful in doing that. So well done, Raul. I'd like to give Raul an applause because he has put in so much work for everything. Well done.
Thank you very much, and have a good day, and see you tomorrow for the Portuguese session. Bye bye.